Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Billy Galligan, and let me start by taking you back to June 9th, 2006. Imagine the scene. A fresh-faced 22-year-old left-back named Philipp Lahm picks up the ball on the flank, cuts inside, and unleashes a curling, absolute rocket of a shot right into the top corner of the Costa Rican net. Within minutes, Torsten Frings follows it up with a 30-yard bullet that nearly tore the leather off the ball. Just like that, the 2006 World Cup in Germany was alive, and it felt like the footballing gods had turned the volume all the way up. And if you wanted pure, unadulterated artistry, you didn't have to wait long. Think of Argentina against Serbia and Montenegro, a 25-pass chess match of a goal, passing the ball back and forth, dragging the defenders out of position bit by bit, until Hernan Crespo cushions a delicate back heel directly into the path of Esteban Cambiaso, who buries it. 25 passes. It was like watching a moving painting. But the real romance of 2006 lay with the debutantes, and they didn't all follow the same script. You had the high-flying Czech Republic, boasting absolute legends like Petr Cech and Pavel Nedved, expected to march all the way to the business end of the tournament, and then they ran into Ghana, this young, fearless Ghanaian side with an average age of under 25, led by Michael Essien and Stephen Appiah, simply ran the Czechs off the pitch in a historic 2-0 victory, eventually becoming only the fifth African side to ever make the knockouts. Meanwhile, Ukraine, after getting absolutely thumped 4-0 by Spain in their opening match, dusted themselves off, rode the goals of Andriy Shevchenko, and somehow marched all the way to the quarterfinals in their first ever tournament as an independent nation. Sure, why not? Now, you can't talk about the group stages of 2006 without talking about the absolute madness of the officiating. I mean, we saw things that defied belief. Take the English referee Graham Poll in the Croatia versus Australia match. He somehow manages to brandish 3 separate yellow cards to the Croatian defender Josip Šimunić before actually sending him off. I still chuckle thinking about it. It's the kind of basic arithmetic error you'd get slagged for in the schoolyard, let alone on the world stage. And then, of course, there was the Battle of Nuremberg, the Netherlands versus Portugal. It wasn't a football match. It was a street fight with a referee caught in the middle. Valentin Ivanov, the Russian official, went to his pocket 16 times for yellow cards and handed out 4 red cards. You had players like Deco and Khalid Boularus getting their marching orders, and by the end, sent-off players from opposing teams were literally sitting together on the sidelines, chatting like they were waiting for a bus after a rough night out in Temple Bar. It was pure chaos, lads. As the tournament moved into the knockout stages, the tension became absolutely suffocating. You had Ecuador pushing England to the limit, only to be undone by a trademark 30-yard David Beckham free kick that curled over the wall and crept inside the post. Then you had the Aussies, putting on a masterclass of defiance against Italy, only to have their hearts completely broken in the 95th minute, when Fabio Grosso went down in the box, and an out-of-form Francesco Totti smashed home a controversial penalty with the last kick of the game. And England, the English golden generation, Lampard, Gerrard, Beckham, Rooney, they face Portugal in the quarterfinals and everything unravels. Wayne Rooney gets sent off for a stamp, and his Manchester United teammate, Cristiano Ronaldo, runs over to influence the referee before turning to his bench and letting out that infamous cheeky wink. It was beautiful, cynical villainy. England, true to form, drag it to penalties, only for Lampard, Gerrard, and Carragher to all miss. Another penalty shootout, another exit, and a generation of talent left wondering what on earth went wrong. But while all this high-stakes drama was unfolding in the air-conditioned stadiums of Germany, I was living in a completely different universe. I had just landed in the heavy, suffocating, humid heat of Monrovia, Liberia, working as a UN military photographer. The country was recovering from years of brutal civil war, the air was thick with dust and the smell of diesel, and the infrastructure was in tatters. Yet even there, in the middle of a peacekeeping mission, the World Cup was the only thing that mattered. I remember crowding around a tiny, flickering television screen powered by a noisy generator in a local barracks, sweat dripping down my neck, watching Zinedine Zidane put on the performance of a lifetime against Brazil in the quarterfinals. Wearing his iconic gold boots, Zidane was like an orchestrator at the podium. He flicked the ball over Ronaldo's head, glided past Kaká, and delivered the perfect free kick for Thierry Henry to volley home the winner. At 34, he was playing at walking pace, but he made the reigning world champions look like they were chasing shadows. It was the absolute pinnacle of individual genius. And then came the night of the final, France versus Italy. I was actually out on patrol during the match, bouncing along the flooded, unpaved streets of Monrovia, looking out the back of our UN vehicle. The scene was unbelievable. Despite the deep poverty and the wreckage of war, the city was alive. Crowds of hundreds of people were huddled together in the pitch black under makeshift zinc sheet shacks, their faces illuminated by the eerie blue glow of tiny television screens hooked up to sputtering car batteries. The sheer, collective passion was mesmerizing, We finally sped back and ran through the gates of our camp, bursting into the mess hall to catch the end of the game, and we walked in at the exact second the universe stopped. We looked up at the screen just as Zidane turned, dropped his shoulder, and drove his forehead directly into the chest of Marco Materazzi. A red card in his final professional match. The image of him walking past the golden trophy, head bowed, while the Italian players celebrated, is etched into my mind forever. It was tragic, shocking, and entirely human. In the end, it was Fabio Grosso, the unlikely hero who won the penalty against Australia, who stepped up to strike the winning penalty past Fabien Barthez, delivering the trophy to an Italian squad that had been completely engulfed by the Calciopoli match-fixing scandal back home. It reminded me that the game, much like our own journeys, always writes its own messy, unpredictable endings. Thanks for listening to this episode of the World Cup of My Mind. Until the next kickoff, keep your eyes on the ball.